Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus, and I'm back again. A moment ago, I was fixing a post for you, and I was talking about some things that are so important that I wanted to share with you that I think everybody at least should have some information on some things that I tell you most people don't even think of, and yet it is so essential in the clarity of the picture that you're trying to avoid. So let me think about it like this. You know, earlier I was trying to tell you about the times of life, the early times when you come into this world up to your toddler years, and how innocent they are, and how soon they get tarnished with the realities of this world from every level, and it continues throughout life. And so there is a real, truly true understanding that everybody must know that we are what we are because that's what we've been made to be, what we are. And the variations of the cause that's persistent in our lives, that's part of the making of who and what we are. And as we respond, it reflects who we become. But ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to say this to you because I want to tell you something that would make this real clear. How many of you, as I was saying, have done some strange things in your life? Some things maybe you think about every now and then and maybe do a little laugh. Some things you think about every now and then and you're kind of glad nobody knows about it but you. How many of you do that sometimes, especially when you're alone? How many of you think about when you were young, you know, out of your, let's say teenagers, let's just start somewhere around there. They call it, when teenagers, they all of a sudden think they are grown, right? And they've spent a lot of time away from home, and that contact with their peers and stuff has shaped and framed them. And this is not just yours, it's all of them. Have been shaped and formed and almost strangers to what you thought, what you spent your years trying to do. And yet there they are, just like you were yesterday. And how many of you have done some strange things that you wouldn't like anybody to know about? How many of you used to steal? I mean, really go to stores and stuff and really pick up something, take it away. Some of you needed it. Some of you just did it just to be bold. How many of you have gone to a store and picked up a candy bar or something? How many of you have sat back and planned on breaking into small businesses just to rob them? Some of you have done it, and some of you just thought about it. I'm sure of that. Does that include you? Why would you think about doing any of these things? Well, the truth of the matter is, whether you know it or will admit it, the truth of it is there was something that brought you to that point. Now, whether you carried through or stopped, it's all intervention or none. How many of you have thought about, as I was thinking earlier, about gangbanging? Why do you want to be a part of a gang? I mean, why would someone want you to be a part of a gang? What's happening in your life that gives gangs life? Is there some great failure, some great disappointments that anyone will go through or must be going through? And yet, the gangs flourish. And what do gangs do? They offer brotherhood. They offer home. They offer, I got your back. Now, I'm using these terminologies because I'm not that familiar with gangs as far as being deep in them. And the message that I'm giving to you is the message at the level of a black man who's just trying to make a difference in the world because he's looked up on some real good stuff. And the pleasure of having this stuff is that he can share this stuff with you, and it is the beautiful stuff. It is the kind of stuff that you prayed for. But have you ever found yourself on the streets kind of hustle for something? Have you ever gone to a party with the intention of just to have a good time, and next thing you know, you ended up drunk? How many of you found yourselves in situations like that? How many times have you gone to parties and got drunk and tipsy and end up going home with somebody else, or took somebody home with you? How many? I know, you know, just think about that. I'm sure that is all across the board, somewhere, someplace, sometime or another. How many of you sometimes have gone to a babysit some baby and found that the mother was attracted to you, and next thing you know, you'll find yourself engaged in some activity that you had no idea was planned or thought of, or you hadn't. Some of you have gone through it, walked away. Many of you have met the challenge head on. How many of you have played with your instructors to get a better grade? How many of you do the same thing for your boss to get promotions? How many of you dress and do all kinds of things to get attention so that you can sway some opinion your way? How many of you have prostituted because you had to pay a bill, or you needed some money for this or for that? And I'm not talking about the streets. I'm talking about, you know, the smart way, what they might call the white collar way. And then at the same time, those of you who are on the streets, hey, why are you there? Same reason that those others are doing what they're doing. Is it to get the paper? I don't think any of you out there doing it for love. I don't really think that neither. Maybe some of you might be. Even the ones that's out there doing it to get some money to buy some drugs are not doing it for love. They're doing it for the drugs, which means get that paper. And we've talked about on the other video, previous video, about, you know, what if you caught yourself in situations like that? But what if you found yourself, ladies and gentlemen, when you're an adult, thinking that the world is going to change now because you've come so far from where you were, you've seen it all, and then you step out into life with a brand new ideal, and you're going to play your part. And you look around and you find that even now and then, when you look around, there's something that's happening. Whether it's taxation, whether it's fraud, whether it's just plain old lies, whether it's hypocrisy. Oh man, let me tell you what I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen. Because I haven't even touched the surface about all the things that's involved. But my point is to say this, is that it doesn't matter who you are or where you are in these United States or anywhere on the face of the globe. You find yourself, for one reason or many reasons or another, that you would be a victim. You would fall into one of these categories mentioned. And if you find yourself exempt from these, don't run, because remember, these were only the beginning. My point of it is this, is that ever since you've been on this earth, you've been trained, you've been indoctrinated, you've been developed in your racism. It didn't just come out of the blue. Racism was taught to you. Now, social scientists and others will give you all kinds of reasons that would make it clearer. But the overall fact is this: you didn't bring racism with you. You were taught it. Hate, you didn't bring that with you. You were taught to hate. To be a bigot, you didn't bring that with you. You were taught to be a bigot. All of these things trying to fit into this system that is designed to keep you distracted from the truth of the system that was designed for you, the one that gives you peace and prosperity and freedom and the joy of life and the fulfillment of your dreams, guaranteed to you, because you take back your power that you've given them to represent you and claim it now for yourself, meaning to represent yourself. Representing yourself with an ideal that each and every last one of you are guided by a spirit you can't see. But that basically means that you know you want your dreams to be met, and if that's to happen, then everyone else has the same right. So, what's good for the gander for you is good for the goose. And you're willing to pay the price of trusting one another, of caring for one another, and not needing or allowing any lies to perpetuate itself upon we, the people who have made the change for what's right and what's true and what's life. And though we have been, since the beginning of time, brought to this point where we can recognize how far we have lost ourselves. We have always wanted to be free. Every last one of us. Blacks, whites, men, women, Americans, every last one of us has always wanted to be free. We've always wanted to be able to have some prosperity, to be able to sustain ourselves in whatever it is that we choose to do. We all, and every last one of us want that. We don't want arguments and fightings and problems. We want to live like we want to live. And those things that we see today that are obstacles, like finance and education, problems with the healthcare system where you can't get adequate healthcare because of cost. We can't do adequate research because of cost. We can't get the best medication because of cost. And yet, the hospitals, the bills, they keep growing. No, we don't want to ever have to endure any of that. So that has got to be fixed. Where education, unlimited and unrestricted. Healthcare from the womb to the tomb. And it's all free. That is the best way. Because in God's kingdom, creating heaven on earth, it moves on the simple principle of a family. I mean, some of you had a family where it was close-knit, and in that household everybody had something to do, and there were no special rewards. At least everybody had the access to everything that everybody else had access to in that house. Why? Because it was theirs. And so when we work collectively as a unit, as a family here in this country, that which we create, that which we produce is theirs. It's yours. Why? Because you did it. You created it from the resources that were given to you freely, with the skills that were directed with you from the beginning, for the purpose of meeting the needs, the desires, and the wants of you, the people. My God. Now that is as plain as it can be. So the message comes here today to say that you've witnessed here, I'm constantly saying it, just want to remind you, with the highest office of the land. They used to call it the highest office in the world, the presidency of the United States, the greatest and most powerful office in the world. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Bigger than Russia, more powerful than China. You know, our landmass might not be as big, but all over Africa and all of these continents, America stood out. Wow, the most powerful of all. And right now in the office, the whole world is looking. You talking about being a light? You talking about getting attention? You doing something good, they might ignore you, but you screwing up. And the whole world is looking. And what are they seeing? They are seeing people lying, Ooh, acting dumb and thinking people are stupid. They're acting guilty. And other people just, over the world are just saying, let's see what happens. They're betting. Let's see how it's going to come out. Some people are betting that the American people are crazy enough to put the man back in office next year. Some people say, well, they might not put him back in office, but they're not going to put him out of office. People are betting on stuff like that, saying that the American people have lost their mind. The whole world is saying that, ladies and gentlemen. Look, you think Americans, people, especially Trump called them non-Trumpers. You think they don't like Trump. But look at him, man. He is Trump. The whole world. I mean, you got people bringing evidence that they have accepted for generations. The process. And here comes somebody trying to mess up with the process, create some crazy stuff on. And then these people catch it. While these, man, somebody ought to be ashamed. I think about the president and I got caught up for stuff like that. I just say, y'all forgive me. I thought I could get away with it. But y'all forgive me and I'm going to give you your country back. I think I'd do that before I ever try to justify it. Because if a nation, in order for you to justify that with this nation, well, God can come to your rescue. Yeah, let me see. I think I just saw God come to your rescue. Here's what this thing is about, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, here we go. Everything that the world is about, everything, you are of the world. You've been a part of things, maybe you're not a part of it anymore. But that doesn't exclude your participation in the process. Every last one of us, the human beings on earth, have been engaged in all that this nation represents. In its birth, in its early years, in its middle age, in its present. Everybody's responsible for what we have before us right now. Nobody's innocent. And there's one thing, is that you represent it. Because you have not known another way. Nobody told you you don't have to follow that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, can you see that you don't know God? And any God that you would know is the God that you would bend to. And to all of the religious communities and organizations, it's the same thing. You're just fitting in, playing a role. You're just like, hey, let me ask you this. I want to take this back to you. How many of you have used men to get what you want? Women. Women? Men, how many of you have used women to get what you want? Wives, how have you felt when you didn't have a job and your husband was the breadwinner? Did he ever make you feel like you were a slave? That you just weren't that important? Men, those of you who, for one reason or another, had a job around the house. Let's say you didn't bring in any money and they did. Did you ever get treated like maybe there was something wrong? How many of you have experienced that? I know you didn't like it. Some of you puffed out your chest and got mad and ran out the door. Took your little paper sack bag of clothes with you. Some of you stayed. Doesn't matter. How many of you have gone out throwing your oaks around, married, making babies all over town? How many of you ladies have received them babies? And you married too, bringing babies back in the house. Just I mean, why am I saying this to you? Because these things happen. You know they happen. Dad, they got kids in the house looking like strangers. Looking like strangers, but he got to say they his. Until you walk down the street one day and you see somebody, whoa! You see somebody look just like somebody, but you can't connect them together except they look like twins. Well, you got the men who do this, you got women who do this, and they just started, and it's been there since the beginning of time. That's when I was talking about committing adultery and fornicating. Some people want to put that on sex. But what that all means, sex is an example. But what it means, basically, is that human beings were created to live as though they were in heaven. And to stray away from that truth was fornicating with another. Fornicating with another. And the next thing you know, you have not only fornicated, you just have given in. It's like, I'll put it to you this way, ladies and gentlemen. Remember this. If your mother told, girls, your mother told you don't have sex. Alright? Your boys, your dad probably didn't tell you. But if he had, let's say, you did. You didn't have sex. You didn't have sex, the girl didn't have sex. You met each other, and for some strange reason, you guys just stayed away from sex. But one thing, you couldn't stay away from each other. And you knew you were going to have sex because you couldn't stay away. And so you made it official. You wasn't going to be put all over town. So this is your first time, this is her first time. You got to learn together what it all means. And based upon how you feel about one another, you will engage yourselves to learn as much as you possibly can. And if you stay there, don't go outside of your relationship, you will have the best relationship you can ever imagine. Why? Because in your imagination, in this relationship that you're in right there, you can use that imagination to use each other to be any and all things imaginable in your sexual relationship. And I'm telling you, you will be forever great. But now let me tell you something, because a lot of folks don't know that. So let's say you want to step out and try something else. You want to step out and try something else. Okay, let's go there. Now you heard the expression say, love is so good when you're still in it. You're doing something you know you shouldn't be doing, but you're doing it anyway. I mean, the juices are flowing. You're excited. I'm telling you. God damn. And for some strange reason, since you're doing it, you want to do it. Nobody forced you to do it. I'm not talking about people who got forced. Man or woman. And you go and you engage yourself. And for instance, if this is a man, I think he might find something happening that he never heard his girl do. And because it's new to him, it messes his mind up. He's like, oh, I got to have some more. Same thing with the woman. Dude, this is new. Never engaged in this before. So it's new and it's cool. So you might want some more. And then even might motivate you to go around town checking out stuff. Or you might end up liking a certain kind of sex, you know. And so you're all of this. This is what we have in our country today. This is what we have. This is the system of our world represented right here. We have committed adultery, and right here is the result of this adultery. We've come face to face with it. The question that is before all of us: where do we want to go from here? Do we want to continue this adulterous past by dealing with Donald Trump, or dealing with this wee stuff that these Democrats are talking about? Or do we want to straighten this thing up and do the right thing? Even if we have to put ourselves into this movement, just as the kids do in Hong Kong, standing up for what's right, regardless of how much evil wants to perpetrate itself upon us, we're going to say, go to hell. Not today, not here, not anymore. And we're going to go forward. Now, this is something you think about. I know I can't go into it right now. You know about it. So let me go now. I'm going to let you go, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.